Now, Cory, I want to talk about California, because California is supposedly an oh-so-green state, supposedly a place that's going to do everything it can for renewable energies. Well, guess what? The past couple of days, it has been hotter than hell in California. So almost every day, the Lord Mayor of the city of Los Angeles, or the governor, is literally telling people, it's 3 o'clock, turn off as many things as you possibly can to make sure that the power grid works. Now, I don't know, I haven't seen this report. It comes from CNN, so we may have to correct it in a moment, but here's a little more detail for you.
Rare and deadly heat at more than 120 degrees. Bone-dry winds exacerbating flames, and almost 2.1 million acres burned. California's wildfires this year have become the worst in state history, and it is only September. California's governor urged residents to conserve energy to avoid severe power shortages and rolling blackouts. Gavin Newsom's office tweeted steps asking Californians to conserve energy.
Now, we keep being told, California, be it under Schwarzenegger or be it under Newsom or Brown, this is the way we should be going. The problem is we are now seeing in real time what happens. And it's not because of fires. It's because of a bloody hot day, and God forbid people want to turn the air conditioner on. But even then, to give you an idea, in parts of California, it has been this week 35 degrees or hotter. The mayor is telling you to turn off the air conditioning and have the fans going on, which means no cooling, just spreading of hot air. But if you do have the air conditioner on, you should set it to 25 degrees, Cory.
Yeah, it's extraordinary, because remember, we were told over and over again that California was the model economy. It was going to be fantastic for the green dream. And what we've realised is that the green dream is a mirage, that when hot days come and people want to use their electricity, it might not be there for them. God forbid. We've seen that here in South Australia, where all the parties have embraced this green madness. But in California, it's particularly crazy because there's a state sort of ownership of much of their power generation, and they can shut it off at will too. So unless you comply, you could find yourself just shut off, just like I think they did for some coronavirus house parties. They said, cut off the water, cut off the electricity, let them go. So it's a bit draconian over there, I reckon.
As I like to say, don't give Daniel Andrews that idea, or every house that's connected to Foxtel at 9 o'clock will get their power turned off. Of course, for their own good. Stephen, this is, we're talking about Petri dishes. This is the perfect example, right? They've gone all in, they've spent their billions, they've done bugger all to take over and keep the infrastructure going. Look, I'm more than happy in the 30 years from now, when there's enough battery power to actually store all of this stuff, to have that conversation. But there's not enough battery power, even in the state of California, to make sure that what is coming from wind and solar can power California.
Look, I mean, this is where the people who have ambitions for a fully renewable future have got to accept that in the interim period, whether it's a 10, 15 or 20-year interim period, you've got to still have base load power because you will, have the sort of blackouts you're seeing in this disastrous situation in California, and it is very sad to see what's happening in California. We've lived our own horror of it through November, December, January ourselves, so we should send our wishes and thoughts to the people of California. But to your basic point, we've got to have sufficient baseload power while we move to a more renewable, possibly 100% if that's what people want. They can't be irresponsible and advocate that that is the sole solution, because it isn't, and it will have disastrous effect, usually on the people who can afford it the least.
Well, absolutely correct. And, James, this is what's always the case, right? Which is, if you live in a big enough house that's able to be cool enough, but if you're living in the 1-2-bedroom unit and you're sitting there in 35 degrees like they are in LA or higher, almost 40 degrees in Vegas in the past couple of days.
This is the whole thing. Not just with this climate thing in California, but with the lockdowns and with so many other things. These are policies put into place by people it won't affect. So if you live in a big house with a pool, hey, I'm happy to be locked down. Cool, this is fine, bring it on. But if you live in a one-bedroom apartment with your partner and maybe a kid, and you're trying to homeschool and still work, you're stuffed. And it's the same thing with these power policies in California. We're going to go down exactly the same road as California here, unless we are A, smart about our baseload, and that means gas in New South Wales, but B, also finally start to talk about nuclear and small nuclear reactors.